encourage everybody who's interested in this, not just on the AI Center, but the long-range problem,
Yes.
join board, get in the ballot, go to war with us, and stop the abuse of the water resource. Thank you. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Have anybody got any questions from me? Okay, I'm going to start in the front and I'm going to work my way back. Yes, ma'am.
That fourth thing you just mentioned, how do we get in contact with it?
All you have to do is go online. With the Coochie Aquatic Restoration, they have a great website. You can just go there, sign up, and become a member, you know, serve on the board with me. I'm going to have everybody I can help me with this because I need help. Now that I've become involved, I mean, I've been involved on the other coast. I've been working on the Ocklawaha and the St. John's. Now I'm over here and I see you got a problem that's worse than I've been working on. So let's all get together and do that. Okay, I'm right here. Yes, sir.
I live in South Apopka Avenue in Venice, and 4 wells have gone dry. And one directly behind me has drilled for 4 days to 195 feet. And it's a consistent situation going on right now that SWIPMA's not talking about.
Yep, and that's exactly what they do. They don't deal with it.
Yep.
They don't deal with it. Okay, yes, ma'am. Could you stand up? Yes. Yes.
They were talking about that there's old water and like really old water, and when you get the saltwater intrusion, it pushes that old water up. And in that old water is like horrible, horrible stuff that causes illness and disease. Is that another thing that we're looking at?
What you're referring to, from my experience, is a little different than the way you're explaining it, but I'll tell you the way I understand it. If you go to Deltona Beach, for example, and I dealt with them when they had their saltwater intrusion and wanted to come and take water from Central Florida, and I wouldn't allow it. Because I said, you got to fix the problem in Deltona. What was happening to them, they started getting sulfur in all their wells, which not only smells bad, tastes bad, you can't drink it. What good is it? That was a byproduct of saltwater intrusion. And you don't have that problem that I know of here, but saltwater intrusion is still a terrible problem. Anybody else before? Yes, ma'am.
My friends on 48, County Road 48, have a well, and they
Could you stand up?
My friends on 48, going from Floral City to Bushnell, they have sulfur in their well.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. You've told me something I didn't know, and that scares me.
It scares me too.
Thank you. All the way in the back.
What about them saying they'll use reclaimed water and not touch our aquifer?
Okay, if I understood your question, I can go back to Deltona again. When Volusia County came over to the Water Management District, and of course we're regional, you know, not for any one county, and I was over on the East Coast, they said, oh, we need water from Ocala and Gainesville. I said, no, you got to start using brown water. And I said, your development, when you have developers come in, instead of just having them suck all the water out of the aquifer, you need to tell the developers that you use brown water to water your lawns, that you use brown water to water your golf courses. That's a second system. So what the responsible developers started doing is putting in 2 water lines, one for the fresh water and one for the brown water, which is recycled. I'm not saying you should drink the brown water, although people say you can. I'm not drinking it. But you can clearly use it to water your lawn. It's actually better than the water that's coming out of the aquifer, if that was your question.
No, they said they're going to use reclaimed water and a closed system and not use any fresh water.
I really can't understand her, so.
They say they're going to use recycle.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not supposed to be taking questions. I'm a rule violator. I can't help it. He's got a strong hand. He's got a hook. He's about to pull me off.
I got the hook ready. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. And again, we'll have a Q&A at the end, so you can continue to ask questions. So right now, we're going to have John Ray, one of our members, speak about noise pollution. John's a U.S. Coast Guard small boat search and rescue constantly in U.S. Air Force major. He's worked with the Florida Department of Transportation as a fleet manager, and we welcome him to speak on the topic. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, I want to just thank Jason. Yeah, I want to thank Jason for remembering that this is a Memorial Day weekend. And we honor and thank the men and women who have served America for the last 250 years.
Yes.
And of course, this July 4th will be the actual date. But
Yes.
as mentioned previously by Doug, data centers are the hubs of the digital world, powering everything from cloud storage to online services. However, their operation comes with a cost: noise pollution. For half a century, U.S. agencies such as the EPA have deemed noise pollution century, U.S. agencies such as EPA have deemed noise pollution a growing danger to the health and welfare of the nation's population. Data center construction also contributes to noise pollution, as it can take years to build due to the size of the facility and its specific design. Noise ranks second only to air pollution as the environmental exposure most harmful to public health. Data center noise impacts surrounding communities and wildlife for miles. Urban sprawl, industrial expansion, and deforestation destroy natural carbon absorption reservoirs while removing natural sound barriers. To reduce noise exposure as much as possible, people are having to resort to wearing earplugs and soundproofing insulation. Data center noise is primarily generated, as Doug mentioned, by massive 24/7 cooling and power systems, generators, etc. They simply don't shut down. The hum from cooling systems, rumbling of diesel backup generators, and whirling fans can be heard for miles. It is constant. It never stops. The largest generators run closer to 100 decibels, dBA. Usually multiple generators run at the same time, increasing the decibel level. Sound behaves differently across frequencies. Our ears don't perceive all frequencies the same. Very low and very high pitches can be damaging to our ears while sounding relatively quiet to us. The vast majority of agencies only measure very high frequencies. dBA is a way of measuring sound that mimics how the human ear perceives it. Low frequencies, which is called dBc, this sound travels further and penetrates buildings more than high frequencies. The low frequency can travel for miles. While I don't agree with Mr. Hicks' assumptions on many things, I do agree with the distance low frequency sound can travel based on his February 4th, 2026 email to the 5 members of the Citrus County Board of Commissioners. To paraphrase, it travels long distances with little attenuation. Low frequency noise does not lose energy quickly and can remain perceptible as vibration and pressure up to 3 miles. It penetrates buildings. Walls, windows, and standard insulation are relatively ineffective against low-frequency sound. Many residents report feeling the noise inside their homes even when windows and doors are closed. In addition, it causes widespread health and quality of life complaints. Studies and resident complaints near data centers associate chronic exposure to low-frequency noise with sleep disturbance and chronic fatigue, increased stress, anxiety, and irritability, headaches, migraines, elevated blood pressure, and cardiovascular strain, unquote. The frequencies can also interfere with pacemakers. A Harvard study in 2022 reported the negative effects of noise pollution will travel far beyond the perimeter of a data center, causing hearing loss, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, the release of stress hormones, which is scientifically linked to sleep disruption, mental health, cognitive problems, memory impairment, attention deficits, childhood learning delays, low birth rates, and even contribute to the growing problem of dementia. One study out of North Carolina said DBC noise contributed substantially to increase the rates of dementia 27%. Strokes and heart attacks also. DBC measures low frequencies that humans can't hear. This is sound we feel. The human body interprets sustained sound as a threat. Low frequency data center noise that exceeds just one of the 9 octave bands can make life miserable for area residents, even though DBA and DBC limits are met. The Citrus Springs middle and elementary schools, with over 900 students, is located just 2 miles from the Holder Park industrial site. So if these sounds are reaching 3 miles, what is that going to do to these kids? And that's just 2 schools. Only 1 commissioner lives within 5 miles of the Holder Industrial Park.
Yeah.
Only 1.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think this one, anyway. From my perspective, the companies and people who fund these data centers are not benign. Again, the overriding concern is to ensure, regardless of industry, that noise does not harm area residents or interfere with wildlife in the Nature Coast. Thank you very much, and God bless America.
Thank you, John. All right. Next up, we have Karen Baldwin. And Karen, are you here? Okay. Miss Baldwin taught kindergarten and first grade here for many years. She's been married for 57 years. And she's here to present the topic of environmental and pollution risk from data centers. I think you have to hold it. Just the stand is a problem.
This should be interesting. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start off by saying that every single person in Citrus County is going to be impacted by the development of a data center. Those living within 5 miles of the proposed expansion of the Holder site, encompassing almost 30,000 people and 4 schools, will bear the brunt of the impact. A study published in 2024 by the University of California, Riverside, and Caltech estimated that by 2028, data centers could contribute to 600,000 new asthma cases a year. and 1,300 premature deaths. Frontiers in Climate reported that children living near the constant noise from data centers can exhibit poor school performance, increased stress, behavioral issues, decreased learning, lower reading comprehension, and concentration deficits. From a resident of Loudoun County, Virginia, otherwise known as Data Center Alley, where they have hundreds of data centers, a quote, "There are no birds here anymore. The constant hum of the data centers has driven away the wildlife." A study by the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, found that the peak nitrogen dioxide level rose by 79% after Elon Musk's XAI data center began operating. Residents in Eastern Oregon have documented rare cases of cancer, miscarriages, and kidney disease after Amazon built a massive data center on their aquifer. This is not fear-mongering. These are just a few of the documented cases that show you the negative effects of data centers. You've already heard about the water consumption, the strain on the electrical grid, and noise before a data center is even built. They cause problems. Construction in an industrial zone involving land clearing, grading, utility installation can disturb streams, wetlands, and animal habitats and migration patterns. The Holder industrial site is close to several wildlife management areas, a nature preserve, and Hernando and Apopka lakes. Data centers are air polluters. When data centers are built, their servers and IT devices run on electricity that is overwhelmingly generated by fossil fuels. Even though developers may promise to switch to more sustainable power sources, the demand for electricity is so great and so immediate that a switch is often put off or completely abandoned. If the electricity isn't developed on the build site itself, often using gas generators, it's passed off to the power company, like Duke, which has to ramp up its use of fossil fuels to power the increased demands for electricity from data centers. This reliance on fossil fuels is only going to increase dramatically as the number of data centers increase. These fossil fuels emit significant amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases contributing to global warming. Data centers which run 24/7 require backup generators to kick in when power goes down. Many of these are diesel powered, and these diesel generators can release fine particulates and matter at 200 to 600 times more nitrous oxides than a natural gas plant. These particles go deep into the lungs, where they can cause respiratory infections, lung damage, and even death. These tiny particles are considered what they call non-threshold pollutants. That means there is absolutely no safe level of exposure. Children, the elderly, and those with compromised, immune systems are particularly vulnerable. According to the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, data centers caused about $6 billion in public health damages due to this type of air pollution in 2023. It's only gotten worse since then. Although pollutants can travel and harm people and wildlife hundreds of miles away from a data center, the risks are greatest in the neighboring communities. Data centers generate light pollution. For security, they require all-night lighting that disrupts natural sleep-wake cycles. It also disrupts migration patterns and habitat development among birds, bees, butterflies, bats, cats, and turtles, to name a few. Say goodbye to nighttime stargazing. Data centers create heat islands. This equipment produces a lot of heat and continually releases warm air into the local environment, forming microclimates. In cooler climates like Sweden, this has actually become a force for good, with the warmth diverted to heat local homes. However, in hot, humid climates like Florida, this only creates more strain on our electrical systems, causing them to work harder to remove the heat and humidity. In a study conducted by Cambridge University in the UK, they found surface temperatures increased by an average of 3.6 degrees after a data center began operations. In extreme cases, nearby temperatures increased by up to 16 degrees. The impacts were not limited to data centers' immediate surroundings. The temperature increases affected areas up to 6.2 miles away. Data centers affect freshwater fish and flora. Duke Energy has taken some steps to reduce its impact on fresh and saltwater aquatic life in Crystal River, but what impact would be felt by the increased on-site demands of a data center on freshwater reserves? Fish follow the flow of water and can get trapped in intake pipes. Increased warm water discharged back into its source contributes to the growth of contaminants and harmful algae blooms. That heated water would have an adverse effect on freshwater species that struggle to survive over the hottest months without some sort of cooler refuge. You've heard a bit of this before, but it bears repeating. Data centers create noise pollution. Data centers run 24/7. They simply don't shut down. The hum from cooling systems, rumbling of diesel backup generators, and whirring fans can be felt, not necessarily heard, felt for miles around. It is constant, it never stops. As developers stack more IT equipment and servers into smaller spaces, the noise will only increase. With no tall buildings, no mountains to block the noise, the negative effects of noise pollution will travel far beyond the perimeter of a data center. Now, to repeat what you've previously heard before, I'm going to say it again. Constant exposure to data center noise can cause hearing loss, cardiovascular disease, sleep disturbances, stress, mental health and cognition problems, memory impairment, attention deficits, childhood learning delays, low birth rate, and even contribute to the growing problem of dementia. If you remember nothing from my presentation today, remember this. The long-term health effects of proximity to a data center have yet to be determined.
That's right.
There are so many reasons to not build a data center in Citrus County. Protect our aquifer, the strain on our electrical grid, the health concerns, impact on animal habitats. There are better places to build a data center, just not here, not now, not ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. All right, next we are going to have Del Ray speak on jobs and economic impact. Del is a local resident here. She was a dental office manager for 20 years and was married to John for 47 years. All right, so Del, come on up and you're gonna have to hold the mic.
Sorry. Let me get this together. The idea that billions of dollars in data center investments will benefit residents and communities might sound appealing, but when we look closely where the money's going, it's very concerning. The difference between private investment is not the same as public tax revenue. When we hear data center companies and county commissioners promoting billions in investment, we need to ask who's going to benefit from this investment. Those billions aren't going into public budgets. This is not direct contributions to schools or other public infrastructure. What these companies are really talking about is private investment for private profit, not guaranteed benefits to our community. Many public officials tout that billions in investments will expand our local tax base and generate new tax revenues. However, companies like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft often negotiate tax rates that significantly reduce their tax obligations. And these big tech companies receive property tax abatements, full sales tax exemptions, and even income tax credits. Those tax breaks can last for decades, for even 10 to 50 years, in some places forever. Companies and politicians often promise that data centers will bring high-paying tech jobs to communities, but academic research finds that data centers do not stimulate growth in tech jobs. According to 1,000 Friends of Florida, a study by the Ford School of Science, Technology, and Public Policy at the University of Michigan suggests that many such tax breaks are net losers for states and municipalities. For instance, in Quincy, Michigan, a small town that hosts several large data centers, the local fire department is so underfunded, it struggles to retain personnel and replace outdated equipment, even as Microsoft and other tech giants operate multi-million-dollar facilities nearby. Furthermore, the state has little oversight or enforcement mechanisms to ensure that the tech companies deliver on promised benefits. And despite initial Michigan legislative goals to boost local employment and economic vitality, the reality is that taxpayers are heavily subsidizing wealthy corporations with minimal transparency or accountability regarding the actual economic impact. So let's hear Commissioner Kennard back in February this year. Let's see what he thinks about a data center in Citrus County.
Residents from this low-level noise that we hear about these things. That's a problem as well. What's not a problem is companies talking about investing $5 to $10 billion in our community. So we should be ready to welcome these things, but on our terms. We need the jobs here. We need good paying jobs here. We need the investment here. We need the investment that these things bring into the community. I believe Mr. Hicks, I apologize if I said, was that right? Has said a couple times publicly in an email that these could be a very good thing, but you got to have these.
Commissioner Kennard, what companies are talking about investing $5 to $10 billion in our community? And what kind of good paying jobs do you expect here in Citrus County from a data center? So there's only two conclusions you can draw from here. Either the commissioners are ignoring their own data from 1,000 Friends of Florida, or they're not being honest. If you look under Florida Administrative Code Rule 12A-1.108, it does not require data centers to create or report jobs as a condition for receiving tax-exempt status.
There you go.
The regulation is centered solely on infrastructure, energy use, and capital investment. In addition to low hiring rates and high layoff rates, see many workers losing their jobs to AI. Meta, Cloudflare, Block, and Salesforce are just some of the companies that have cut jobs citing AI as the reason. Mark Zuckerberg's social media conglomerate will lay off about 10% of its workforce. CEO of Oracle, Larry Ellison, fired up to 30,000 workers via email after a 95% profit surge. Founder of Block, Jack Dorsey, said the company was cutting its workforce from more than 10,000 employees to just under 6,000. And tech companies are cutting almost 1,000 jobs daily. As Oracle founder Larry Ellison has outlined, the ultimate goal of these massive data centers is to unify all personal data, including our DNA, into a centralized system where AI can monitor every aspect of our lives to ensure best behavior through omnipresent surveillance.
That's what it's about right there.
Ellison's vision is not a fringe
Yes.
idea. It's a concrete plan backed by a $50 to $100 billion data center being built by Oracle to process this data, a facility that could easily benefit from state-level tax exemptions like Florida's. This regulation, therefore, is not just about attracting business. It is a financial enabler for the rise of digital authoritarianism and a dystopian nightmare where privacy is extinct. Unfortunately, Mr. Joe Hicks, a resident of Beverly Hills, whose name was mentioned 9 times during the May 12th Board of County Commissioners meeting, sent one of his many letters to the Board of County Commissioners. His 40-page detailed and specification-laden letter dated May 10th, 2026, and I quote, "As its first required action, the BOCC must reject the 1-year moratorium and direct staff to incorporate the key quantitative measurable goals and protective recommendations from the updated Red Line V06. The full text of the updated Red Line V06 is available and ready for adoption with minimal additional drafting. We are prepared to discuss details, provide the supporting PowerPoint, or answer any questions," unquote. Mr. Hicks, who is the we? In your email that you submitted with your Red Line V06 quantitative measurable goals, it's time the BOCC listens to no data center citrus community and our expert witness recommendations when it comes to this rezoning issue. We don't want ordinances, and we don't want the rezoning. We don't want a data center.
Hear it.
I ask you, the Citrus County residents, should the commissioners defeat the rezoning of Holder Industrial Park's additional 800 acres to heavy industrial? No! Please show up, be involved in this process of fighting the rezoning of Holder Industrial Park. We need each and every one of you to attend Planning and Development and Board of County Commissioner meetings and speak up. Just let us know how you want to get involved, but please get involved. Thank you.
Excuse me. When do they meet? Is there a
We'll get to that.
We'll take your questions later. Thank you.
Very good.
Right, thank you, Del. All right, so next we have Cheryl Curtis speaking, and she's going to address the Deltona Corporation and AI topic. And Cheryl's a retired educator here and a counselor, and ran a weekly radio show for 13 years covering current events. So welcome, Cheryl, and here you go.
Hi, everyone. Hi. It's great to see so many of you here. Wonderful. So, what's that? Like the closer? Okay. Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm going to be discussing 6 things: the Deltona Corporation, a timeline of their rezoning and expansion application for the Holder Industrial Park, the moratorium, state law SB 484, China, and AI. So it won't take that long, sit tight. Okay. So let's take a look at the Deltona Corporation that wants to bring the huge data center to our community. Deltona, under the original owners, the Mackle brothers out of Miami, bought a 15,000 acre tract of land that included the Holder Industrial Park in June of 1969 as part of a massive development project that became Citrus Springs. And later that year, they bought another 12,000 acres, giving them 27,000 acres in the area. In 1992, the Deltona Corporation was bought by Anthony Graham, a Belgian national. He bought it through 2 offshore companies he controls, Yasawa Holdings and Celex International. Both companies are located in Curacao. The Deltona Corporation is registered in Delaware and operates in Florida as a foreign profit corporation. And that just means that it is registered in one state or jurisdiction and is operating in another. Their headquarters are now in Ocala. Now, I probably don't need to tell any of you why companies are registered in Delaware and Curacao, right? But I think everyone knows that it is for tax purposes. In 2015, Deltona partnered with Duke Energy and the Citrus County Economic Development Agency to study the Holder Industrial Park's potential for industrial use. In 2017, a plan for a 500-acre plus industrial park was voted down by the county commissioners due to infrastructure and traffic issues. In 2019, the commissioners unanimously approved a revised plan for the 557 acres at Holder Industrial Park. As you can see from the maps that are in your program, it is zoned for mixed use with commercial, light industrial, and heavy industrial areas. Currently, Anthony Graham is the primary owner of Deltona, controlling 73% of the company. In 2004, he took the company private, so the ownership of the remaining 27% does not have to be revealed. So we have no idea who they are or whether there might be a conflict of interest in the current situation. On August 29th, 2024, Governor Ron DeSantis awarded Citrus County a $2.8 million Florida Job Growth Grant to install wastewater and sewer infrastructure at the Holder Industrial Park to make it ready for industrial and commercial development. This is interesting since we know that data centers don't create a lot of jobs once in operation. On December 5th, 2025, Deltona's initial application for expansion of the Holder Industrial Park was submitted to the county, requesting rezoning of 813 adjacent acres. This additional acreage is currently zoned for agricultural, rural residential, or low-density residential. Their goal is to rezone all of that to allow heavy industrial use, such as a data center. At the March 5th meeting of the Planning and Development Commission, they voted to ask Deltona to come back at a later date to provide additional information that their application was lacking. They called it a continuance. I attended that meeting and heard the lawyers and planner representing Deltona first state that they hadn't had any requests for a data center on the property in question. Then they had to admit that they did have a few inquiries about data centers, but they never got the names of the interested parties, so they don't know who they are. Okay? On April 1st, the lawyer representing Deltona, Sidney Ansbacher, wrote a letter to the county following up on the continuance, basically stating that Florida law requires that a final decision be made on the Holder Industrial Park expansion within 180 days of application, and they are demanding a final decision by July 2026. So the PDC will be voting on the rezoning on June 18th, and no matter what their decision is, it goes to the BOCC for a final vote on July 14th. So we need you all there. At the May 12th BOCC meeting, they voted to have an ordinance created to allow for a moratorium on data centers. They vote on this moratorium officially on May 26th, so that's this coming Tuesday. Wow. The moratorium is being put in place to allow the county time to amend the county land development regulations and/or codes of ordinances relating to data centers, and to study and evaluate potential impacts of data centers on groundwater, electrical grid capacity, land use compatibility, impact on wetlands, coastal ecosystems, etc.
Good.
Once these amendments to the regulations and ordinances are adopted, the moratorium ends, and it can't go longer than a year. The tricky part here is that the Holder Industrial Park expansion application is not covered by this moratorium because it predates it. So it is not covered by it. Now, I would think that since we already have an application for a data center at Holder, that these studies on the impact of data centers would already have been done. But sadly, they have not. The Deltona Corporation recently submitted a new map to the county with an actual data center on it covering 777 acres. And I think you have that map in your programs. If my math is correct, that's a really huge building site, measuring roughly 1.2 square miles. Can you imagine a building that's a mile long and a mile wide? So that's where things stand at the moment. Excuse me. So now I just wanted to look at the new state law concerning data centers, SB 484. So in a nutshell, it maintains local government authority over land use regulations to large load customers. It allows for a 12-month non-disclosure agreement between a corporation and county officials, and if a company requests this NDA, they get it, and the public will not know anything about its plans for 1 year. It requires that the data centers pay for their own electricity if its monthly peak electrical load is 50 megawatts or more. But if at Holder, they chose to build one using 48 megawatts or less, SB 484 wouldn't apply to them at all. Also, in the bill, utility companies cannot provide electricity to large facilities owned by foreign countries of concern. It requires data centers to use some portion of reclaimed water. So some good and some bad in this bill. What it does not do is provide any regulations on privacy issues and surveillance by big tech.
Yep.
The bill goes into effect on July 1st. So the tricky part here is, does this apply to the Deltona application or not? The bill lacks a grandfather clause, so it looks like it would apply to the Holder Industrial Park expansion, assuming they built something larger than the 50 megawatt rule. Okay, so now let's move on to China. I've heard two arguments concerning data centers in China that I want to address. The first one is that China is behind all of the opposition to data centers in the US.
No.
So just to clarify, we're a grassroots group that opposes data centers due to all of the reasons you just heard about tonight. Data centers are having tremendous negative impacts on communities around the country. That's why the opposition is heating up. It's got nothing to do with China.
Exactly.
And secondly, it's been argued that we need these, too loud? It's been argued that we need these data centers, is this okay? Yeah. Okay. We need these data centers to win the AI race against China. Now we have roughly, these statistics change depending on where you look because they identify data centers differently in certain studies, but I'm going to go with these numbers. Now we have roughly 5,000 data centers with 3,000 more in the works, excuse me, or proposed. China has only around 500.
Yep.
So we have 10 times more data centers than they do. So that argument seems ridiculous to me, but I have to ask myself, what are these tech billionaires up to with this massive development of so many data centers?
That's right.
And lastly tonight, let's look briefly at big tech and AI. According to Mariette, I'm butchering her name, but Mariette Shaki, who wrote this book, The Tech Coup, excuse me, so she's the author of the book. The big tech companies, she says, under the cover of innovation, have not only successfully resisted regulation, but are now seizing power from governments themselves. She states that technologies from social media to AI are undermining the pillars of our democracies. And she calls for governments to catch up with what's happening and put in protective regulations.
That's right. That's right.
And author Ian Davis of this book, The Technocratic Dark State, says that the ultimate goal of the technocrats is to enslave humanity, and they are rolling out the digital infrastructure to do just that.
That's right.
Okay. So, and then this wasn't originally part of my speech, but I got the paper today, and the Citrus County Chronicle, and maybe some of you saw it, but in this first article, Citrus County Weighs Moratorium, it states, county commissioners' decision to move forward with a moratorium has slowed down Deltona Corporation's plan to expand and rezone land at the Holder Industrial Park. And I had to tell you, that's not true. They're going full speed ahead. We've got the June 18th meeting at the PDC, and then the July 14th. And I already shared with you the letter that their lawyer sent to the county saying they would not go beyond July. They need the vote. And so it's on. So whatever.
It's on.
You can't really trust everything in the Chronicle. And all right. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Cheryl. And next in line, we have Alan Ivory speaking. And Alan's going to talk to us about asphalt plant plans that he's been fighting for some time. Mr. Ivory is a local realtor, and he's organized the resistance to this asphalt plan. So, Alan? What?
Mr. Ivory's battling a bad case of bronchitis, so he's here, but he can't speak. So.
Okay, so what are we going to do about that?
Hopefully hand out what he was going to say.
Sandmine, okay. So we're going to move on, and we're going to ask Anthony to step in and talk about the Stop the Sand Mine. This is Anthony Ayo. He's a former registered cardiovascular invasive specialist, as well as an income tax specialist and co-chair of the Stop the Sand Mine Committee in Pine Ridge.
Wow. All right.
Hello. I've been a Citrus County resident since 2005, and we moved up here from Miami-Dade County because of the water and the traffic situation. Can you hear me? Okay. In 2000, I had discovered that out of the 40 freshwater wells that went into our Floridan and Biscayne aquifers in Miami-Dade County, half of them were shut down due to upwelling pollution, which that's what Sumter County is proposing to do. Hopefully you understood what that's all about. In 1972, the EPA approved Miami-Dade County to inject sewage water into some caverns below the two aquifers. Wow. And in 2000, it's coming out. So every well that's contaminated has to get shut down. Same with another portion of those wells were shut down for saltwater intrusion, because I don't know if you know, but back in the 1920s, this huge Biscayne Bay was all freshwater. And because Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, and Broward counties have been sucking out so much water, it's all saltwater now. And the saltwater is now going under land, inwards to about a mile. There are some areas down in South Florida that they have to pump their fresh water from inland to the outer areas, like Hollandale Beach, Dania Beach, places like that need water. They don't have local water source. And that's what we were talking about. That's what our good friend, the lawyer, Bruce, was talking about. He showed you some really cool maps and everything. I've been in this fight for over a year. What happened is we were informed that there's Southworth, George Southworth wanted to develop a sand mine just on the west side of Pine Ridge, which our purple trail for our horses borders right there. And there are homes on Sacramento Avenue that would all be affected because of this. So we started our investigation and determined what the possibilities could be. Southworth wanted to dig down about 20 feet. He wanted to leave 2 lakes there, and he thought there'd be nothing wrong with this whole thing. Not realizing that when you leave surface water that can communicate with your aquifer, which in some areas are 8 to 10 feet down, okay, you can introduce amoebas, cryptosporidium, toxoplasmosis, giardia, arsenic that's in that area, all into your aquifer. And homes that are just feet away will be sucking that right up into their tap. So I would think that this would be concerning to everybody, okay? Because currently our city, our county water, we only treat it with chlorine. And chlorine doesn't kill some of that stuff.
No.
And it will kill you. It's not a joke. It will cost us $500 million to build a plant to treat for giardia, cryptosporidium, and toxoplasmosis, and things of this sort. Okay, over $500 million to do that just for this county. That's money we don't have. Not to mention, our aquifer is at historic lows. So when we first started, I thought that the aquifer was down to just at 60% down. So that meant we were living off of 40. We're down to 17. 17% on the aquifer level. That's how bad the drought is. And they're thinking, oh, well, let's put a data center in here. And I'm like, are you crazy? So currently with the Stop the Sand Mine, the Florida Department of Transit has taken it over, and they're trying to get an ERP, an environmental resource permit from Southwest Florida Water Management District. We call it SwiftMud.
Yeah.
Well, right now we're in a kind of a dire situation where we need as many people that want to please send letters. We have handouts up there in the back for you to do form letters, okay? So you can pick out some key topics that you like and write your own letter, okay? And there are the email addresses on that form so you can send it in. Please, we have about 5 to 14 days to get these letters in.
Wow.
We have got to inundate them with tons of information. So as you see right here, on October 24th, Superior Construction was working on the Sun Coast, and their excavator was down too deep and ruptured the aquifer. The water inundated it where the guy had to swim to safety. Now, here's an idea as to who we're facing. Both the Florida Department of Transit, Superior Construction, oh, and let me add, SwiftMud also, were all saying this was due to rainwater, stormwater runoff, which we hadn't had any in months. Yeah, they just point out, bold-faced lie to us. Remember, we paid that. We're paying for them to lie to us.
Yes, we are.
This alone is a major catastrophe.
That's
Do you
right.
think they handled it the way they should have? Do you think they monitored the water around the surrounding homes? No. Do you think they were concerned about this? Did they sample that water and test it and tell me whether it was fresh water or what? Where did it come from? Well, 10 days later, next time, oh, there, that's the excavator being pulled out by a crane. That's how bad it was, okay? So go back to the other one. This is the hole that was left. I was there. I took that picture. It's 20 feet from the surface water up to the land where the equipment is. 20 feet. What the hell are they doing down below 20 feet? They have their reports. Their reports say 8 to 10 feet you can hit water. This excavator was below 20 feet and it ruptured the aquifer. So it seems like these people don't have any sense. I mean, really, why would you be down below the water level over here? Because that's what it was. That water level never changed, as you see, okay? And it was hard to get out of, because as we stood on the side, the ground just kept giving way, okay? Because it's all sand. So anyway, that water is cold and clear that day. We hadn't had rain in about a month. Cold and clear. Sounds like it's aquifer water to me. Well, it took them 2 months to finally admit, yes, that's from the groundwater. That's their terminology. They're going to say groundwater instead of saying it's the aquifer water. Okay? They play games with words. You got to pay attention to this. Okay? They just love to play games. So this whole thing is just a big old debacle. The Southwest Water Management, Southwest Florida Water Management, has a proposed approval for the ERP, for the Florida Department of Transit. They're claiming that this sand mine is part of the right-of-way for the Suncoast. I don't know if you've ever seen the map, but it goes all the way up and around on Gum Street. It's nowhere near the Suncoast. Right-of-way is usually right along the side of the Suncoast. So again, they're playing fast and loose with us, and we have to hold their feet to the fire because this is our only water source in this area.
Yes.
And we have to pay attention to this.
Yes, we do.
Now back to the reason why I'm here. The no data center, the stop the asphalt plant and stop the sand mine, all three of us are joining together in order to be a larger group because we're all basically fighting the same thing.
Exactly.
We want to protect our only water source. Now here's another thing that I came across some information last night. Why do you think there's such a big rush on the AI data centers?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Well, in this particular, I'm going to have Dee Dee posted on her website. There's a video about what the possibilities could be. And it sounds like we're in the middle of it, middle of AI takeover.
Yes.
And I hope you all watch Terminator. I hope you also watch The Matrix. Because this looks like that's our future.
I read the Bible.
Yes. Well, it's all the same thing. Because that's what we're doing. We're going to destroy humanity for wicked computers to take over.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, I just wanted to thank you all. Please help us. Thank you.
That stand is electrified. All right. Thanks very much, Anthony. Next up, we have Holly Herndon coming up to speak. Dr. Holly Herndon is a candidate for the Citrus County Commission District 4 A Citrus County resident for more than 35 years. She spent 16 years with the Citrus County School District in leadership roles focused on education, teacher mentorship, career programs, and workforce development. Hernan has also co-founded the nonprofit Peer Leaders in Engineering with her husband, Tim, providing students with hands-on trade and life skills training. So let's welcome Holly.
Thank you. Hello, I'm just curious who we have out in the audience. Can everybody stand up for a minute? There you go, stretch it out. Been sitting a little while. Okay. If you have lived in Citrus County for a year, go ahead and sit down. 5 years, sit down. Oh, only 5 years. I'm trying to get to the people who've been here the longest. 5 years or less, sit down. Okay. 10 years or less. Okay. 15 years or less. Wow. 20 years or less. 25. Wow. 30. Okay. 40. 50. Wow. Okay. 60. 70. Ooh, we had one winner. How long have you lived here? Yes. Wow, 67 years. So I have only lived here 35. I came down here when I was 7. So people ask me all the time, were you born here? And I can't take credit for being born here, but it's all I've ever known. I came in first grade. I went to Lecanto Primary, Lecanto Middle, Lecanto High School, and I'm very proud to be the first graduate out of the Academy of Environmental Science out there. I was lucky enough to meet can't get too far from this thing. I was lucky enough to meet my husband Tim at 17 years old. We both worked at Publix together. I like to tell people this story. He was my bagger. I was the cashier. He came up and said, will you have lunch with me? And I said, no, thank you. And then he came up another day and said, will you have lunch with me? And I said, no, thank you. Like, this guy's not getting it. And then he came up one day and he said, do you eat? And I said, yes, I eat. And he goes, well, then why don't you let me buy you lunch? And I'm like, well, that seems like a really good idea. And I've had him ever since. So meeting him at 17, our dates consisted of picnics at Potts Preserve, trips down the Withlacoochee River, going to Big Blue, walking around the Homosassa Wildlife Park, because when you're broke, that's what you do, is you go to local things, a lot of hiking and enjoying the outdoors. So those things are very important to us. Now, my husband grew up down Turner Camp, and when we go out to Potts Preserve, he's mentioned to me this last year that he doesn't hear the frogs anymore. He said, I used to hear the frogs all the time at Potts Preserve, and I don't hear them anymore. And it reminds us that those little things that we notice tip us off to the big things that are happening. Yes. We have to be in tune to those little things before we lose. Yes. Because the thing is, in this Nature Coast, we don't get another chance at this. If we do not take care of what we have now, we lose it, and we don't get it back. And I don't know about you, but I chose to stay here. My son is in the back of the room. I chose to raise my kids here. We chose to build a business here, and I pray to have my grandkids here because I love Citrus County, and we need to protect it.
Yes.
The concerns, raise your hand if you're feeling stifled by traffic. Okay, do you remember the days when it took 15 minutes to get from Floral City to Crystal River? Maybe 20 on a bad day? Okay. Now it takes me at least 40 minutes to get from one side. I usually get hung up at traffic lights, especially through Inverness. But what we're feeling right now, what's scary about that, is that we are feeling the development that was approved 10, 20 years ago. So in 2011, if you don't know, our county commission dropped concurrency. What concurrency is it's developers who pay for the growth. Infrastructure had to be put in place before development was built.
Yes.
When concurrency was taken away by our commissioners in 2011, they started with a slow rollback, and it meant that then infrastructure came later. We planned for it, but we didn't make sure it was in place before the first house went up. That is what you're feeling right now. That strain is from previous growth. Now here's why I'm running, and here's why I'm nervous. Look at how many more divisions have been approved that are going forward. We do not have the infrastructure, we are not in balance now, and we have just approved so many more developments that we're not ready for and the developers don't have to pay for.
That's right.
I did not expect to be in politics. This was not on my bucket list. But somebody reached out to me in our community and they said, you know, Holly, we were sitting talking about me and my husband's nonprofit. We started a nonprofit about 3 years ago for students to bring them into the shop to teach woodworking, metalworking, culinary skills to replace home ec and shop class that they're not getting anymore. And I'm very, very proud of that because there's that phrase, build it and they will come. Well, no one told us what to do if they were coming and we hadn't built it, because we have over 100 kids on a wait list in this community to get into that shop to do those programs. But with that said, when somebody says the good people don't run, and I said, well, why do good people not run? And they're like, oh, you wait until you get into politics. You'll understand why. And I will tell you, it is a dirty, dirty thing. I got my first slander article this week. It's amazing to me how I had 4 people call me who were with me about what this article was written about, and they said, were we all in the same room? And I was like, yep, this is just part of the process. But here's the thing, if nobody stands up for the people, we just stay on the same track we're on, and we are not gonna survive it if we keep going in the way that we're going. As far as a data center, it is easy to get caught up in emotional issues. A lot of people say you have an educational doctorate. What does that even mean? You can't fix my back. You're no use to me. A doctorate in education is about people, policies, process, and problem solving. It means I know how to work with systems. I know how to run them effectively and efficiently. That is what I'm bringing to the commission. I looked at data centers and I moved away from the emotional issues because we can find scientific research about the noise, about the water, about the electricity on both sides. But I thought from a business mindset, why would a data center want to come to Citrus? Because you think any business wants to make a profit, right? So we look at that. So there is a national trend that data centers are picking rural communities that they can take advantage of.
Yes.
Okay? They are looking for ones that need the tax income. They're looking for ones that have environmental regulations they think will be easy to get through. And what bothered me most of all, and this is why I am a firm no on data centers, is because the places that they go when they're done with them, they're called sacrifice zones. We will not allow anybody to make us a sacrifice zone. Can I have Cheryl and Del Rey? Yes, let's get you two. Where'd she go? Okay, come here. These 2 ladies, I gotta tell you, these are tough ladies. You don't wanna mess with them.
Thank you.
Okay? So, what I didn't know is that these ladies have been vetting your candidates. And when I say vetting, I mean like tearing us to shreds. You should see the messages I have about, I heard this about you, and I heard that, and I read this, and you need to explain this, and you need to, I mean, this lady has like, I feel like I should have just given her all my birth certificates and like, yeah, everything. But what I didn't know is that she was doing that to all the candidates. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that, because it is so easy to go with what's said online. It's so easy to believe things. And what I care about these women is they took the time, because this is so important. We cannot mess this up. We cannot let this happen. And I found out 2 days ago that after they went through all of the candidates, that I was chosen to be your partner in the data centers. Just to, it means so much to me, I just can't tell you. You're gonna meet a lot of candidates. Todd Cloud is out here. He's been on the trail with me. It is so hard to stand up against the machine, and I had no idea how deep it was here. I'll tell you, I was very naive in how deep this system goes here, but that just tells me that we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And Our team is back there. We could use all the help we can get because my win is going to be a people's win. It's going to be the people having enough. So if you'd like to join us, we have all our information back there. We are trying to protect what we have and what we love. And if we stay on the trajectory we're on, I'm just really scared of where we're going to be. Okay, God bless.
Thank you, Holly. That was great. All right, so our next speaker, Dr. Frank College, candidate for Florida State Chief Financial Officer. Please come on up. And Dr. Frank is a candidate for Florida Chief Financial Officer, bringing a background in healthcare, business leadership, and public service advocacy. A physician, an entrepreneur. He has emphasized government accountability, fiscal responsibility, insurance reform, and increased transparency in state financial management. Please welcome Dr. Frank College.
Hi. Before we get going, there's one thing. All right, there we go. Top was loose. All right, so before we get started, I am a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. This is a Memorial Day weekend. No one done it, so can we all stand up and take a moment? Let's all just take a moment of silence for the veterans, and then let's do the Pledge of Allegiance because no one's done it. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so a little bit about myself. My name's Dr. Frank College. I grew up in Zephyr Hills, Florida. And I remember Zephyr Hills when it was orange groves, cow farms, a lot of swampland, and now you go to Zephyr Hills, and what is it? It's the largest city in Pasco County. The problem is we're overdeveloping. We are sucking our aquifer dry. There's only so much water. We have a drought going on in Florida right now, and our watering bottle plants, they're bottling water at how much?
Yes.
10 million gallons a day.
Yes.
And how much water do we have? I mean, it's obviously we've heard plenty of information today. There's a lot of information today that we heard that obviously there's a lot of information today that we heard that is no good. I mean, at what point does it make sense to have a data center? It doesn't make any sense, not for us, right?
No.
Okay, how many of you guys actually want one in your backyard? No.
I don't want one in America. What's that?
So
we're the land of the free.
There you go. Now here's an issue that Bobby and I both seen. We both went to Fort Meade last month. A group larger than this sat there in front.
Move back. Back from the speaker.
All right. So we went to Fort Meade last month. A group larger than this sat there in front of their commissioner and said, "We don't want this." Not one person said, "I want this." And the commissioners voted unanimously for it.
They're bought
Okay.
and paid.
So the Florida Chief Financial Officer, one of the things that he does is he goes around and he has to audit the jurisdictions. Now here's the issue is we haven't had an audit. There's not been one audit in Florida. The current one that's going around telling you your government's wasting money, he's doing a financial review. And as someone who has a doctorate in business administration and runs a very successful company in 8 states, I can tell you a financial review, you can make it sound any way you want it to sound.
Yes, you can.
What he needs to do Because there's 2,000 entities in Florida that receives money from the state of Florida. And every one of those 2,000 entities, first of all, we can't do an audit. It costs $750 million or more per year to do an audit. But every one of those entities report to the CFO's office, line by line, their budget. The CFO should just make it public and let us audit our elected officials. Now, if he did that, then we would see what Fort Meade's county commissioners, why they voted for the data center. Now, I'm not saying that they were paid off. I'm not doing that. That's slander. I don't have any proof. But it makes you wonder, why would they vote for this when the entire area said, we don't want this? So everyone here, I'm backing you 100%. When I'm elected CFO, I will continue fighting against data centers because it does not belong in Florida. So everyone here, you need to stand up. You need to go there in droves and tell your county commissioners, we don't want this, repeatedly. And if they still vote for it, remember their names and get them out of there. Our country was founded off of 3 simple words: we the people. We tell the government what to do. The government don't tell us what to do. They're in power. They are representatives. We are in a democracy? No. We are in a republic. And what's a republic? We vote for someone to represent us. That means they answer to us. They have a boss. It's called the constituents. And if they don't want to listen to their boss, I know when I did a 9-to-5 job, if I didn't listen to my boss, I got what? Fire them. Okay? One of the best things we can do in America, from top to bottom, is change our politicians like we change our socks.
Every vote. Vote all incumbents out.
Vote all incumbents out. There's a reason Florida established a term limit system, and it works, but it doesn't work well enough. And the best term limit is that voting booth. Make your voice heard. Don't forget that August 18th, for most people, August 18th is the only election. If you're tired of voting for the lesser of 2 evils, the only vote that you really need to cast is on August 18th. Because the primary is the one where you get to pick the person you want. In November is where you get to pick the lesser of 2 evils.
That's right.
So if you're tired of lesser of 2 evils, get the person you want in there. And the only way to do that is by showing up. And it's the same thing with data centers. You don't want it, show up.
That's right.
We've heard 100 reasons why we don't want data centers in our neighborhood. I haven't heard one reason why we should. And so everyone in here, every person needs to bring 4 or 5 people with you when you go to the county commission and you say, I don't want this. We are saying no, and if you vote yes, we're gonna vote you out. You need to make that voice heard. So, again, my name is Frank College. August 18th is the election. I have to get that in there, right? Because I need your vote too. I do have some stuff in the back there. My whole platform is about integrity, accountability, and transparency. I fight insurance companies for a living now, and I will continue fighting when I'm chief financial officer. We have a way to make insurance cheaper in Florida, and I know how to do it, and it's by getting the people who are paid by insurance companies out of their position of power and get people in there. So August 18th, Frank College for Florida Chief Financial Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. So next we have Bobby Williams speaking, candidate for Florida governor. Mr. Williams is a Republican candidate for Florida governor and a third-generation Florida native focused on community service, disaster relief, and conservative leadership. Founder of a Florida-based food and disaster relief nonprofit, Williams has led efforts delivering emergency supplies and support to families across Florida during hurricane recovery and operations. So let's welcome Bobby Williams.
Awesome, awesome. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank you. I got 3 sayings. Number 1, Florida is full. How many agree with that one? We're full to not have data centers, and we're full to developers destroying Florida, right? And the reason that is enough's enough. You heard these conversations, you hear it again and again. I've traveled the state. This is our 70th, 80th venture, crisscrossing the state from the Panhandle down to the we're going to Key West here in a few weeks, but I've been all over, and it's the same message, same issues, same problems. It's no longer we the people. It's we the lobbyists and we the big corporations. And we've had enough.
That's right.
It's enough.
That's right.
Because what they're doing, why do we say enough's enough? When they have to take, I'm funny but real, when they have to take your poopy water and turn it into drinking water, we call that toilet to tap. Don't we think that's enough? We don't have the water, except Swift Mud keeps signing permits left and right for these housing developments to come in. Then they're allowing data centers to come in. We're full. We don't have the water. You know, enough is enough, especially when we're at that capacity. We can't keep going at the rate we're going and expect anything differently. I mean, you hear the conversations, you can hear the data. At what point do we become Aaron Brockovich? Are we there now?
Yeah.
Cancer's on the rise, sickness on the rise, disease on the rise. You can't even catch fish anymore without lumps and legions and all this kind of stuff going on. We're at that point. You heard our fisheries are being destroyed. I was just in Hawthorne yesterday, dealing with a fisherman, traveled the lake, showing me there's no fish there. They used to catch, he's 5th generation for it. I'm a 3rd generation Floridian. He's a 5th generation Floridian. He hears stories of, hey, from his granddad, great-granddad, hey, when we were kids, we caught this many fish. And he watched it reduced and reduced and reduced. My message going across the state is Matthew 7:16. You'll know them by their fruit.
That's right.
And the reason I say that, it's just not the fruit of the people, but the fruit of what our government's done. People are getting sick. We're losing our fisheries. We're doing all this. So I don't care what the scientist says. I don't care what Dr. Fauci says. I don't care what our government says. What is the fruit of what we keep producing? It's destruction.
It is.
At what point do we become the Everglades? We watch politicians and corporations make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars destroying the Everglades. Now they're spending billions of dollars restoring it. Yeah. Who's paying for it?
We are.
So when these AI data centers go in 5, 10, 15 years and they got to get decommissioned, and they're no longer of use, who's paying for that?
We are.
When they steal our water and all this stuff, we don't have the water no more, who gets the first right of refusal of water? The AI data center or us? We should, right? So that's the reason why we're at a point enough is enough. I'm against data centers all the way across Florida. And the sad thing is, I've been in Fort Meade. I watched rooms bigger than this fill up. And I watched the city commission vote 5-6-0 against the people.
That's right. They're doing it in Washington too.
So what we're doing, we're going back in June 20th, and we're working on decommissioning all the commissioners. That's what we got to do. The one lie we've been told our whole lives is we win at the ballot box. Have we won the ballot box? We've been told to vote red. Have we won voting red? No, we don't have a voice. How we win, and this is my job as I run across this state, is to convict people. How we win as women like Holly and men like Frank, you have to have godly men and women run for these seats. And it's not the godly men and women that I'm a Christian, look at me. I've got competitors running around and saying they're Christian, and I see the fruit of who they are and what they do. It's not Christianity to me.
Nope.
That's the reason why you got to look at these guys and look at that. But my job is to convict people. You can say, I don't have time, but you got to make time.
Yes, you do.
3 years ago, the Lord told me to run for governor, and I said, you got to convince me. I don't want politics. I'm not a politician. There's too much corruption, too much frustration, too much aggravation. I love what I do. I watch tens of thousands of lives get touched and changed through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
We feed millions of people all the time. Since COVID to now, I've been blessed to move over 100 million pounds of product. If you had to buy, that's 350 million gift in kind. Just from God making things happen. And we average 1 million pounds a month still today. I run a business 25 years. I run electrical communications, fiber optic business. We do a lot for the colleges there in Lakeland and Central Florida, which I watched go on a downcline because it was my job was more important to teach people, reach people, change people's lives, and be a blessing and impact. So I run a business 25 years. I pastor a church for 6 years. I run 8 years. I run the Freedom Tour for 10 years. I'm running for governor. And number 5, men, y'all know this job, I have honeydews. So guess what? I don't have time, but you make time. And God will help you make time because we got to get godly men and women in these seats. For too long, we're voting against the least of two evils. Can I get amen? Amen. I know y'all here been a long time. I don't want to keep much of your time, that kind of stuff. My third one is this. So it's Florida's full, enough is enough, and number 3 is do not New York my Florida. And that has so many meanings, but I want to break it down to AI data centers. New York is nothing but investors, trading companies, stock exchange companies, hedge funds, and they could care less about me and you. They want to come in here and monopolize everything. We can talk about water, we can talk about polluting our water, and we can talk about ruining our land. But the most important problem with AI data centers is going to take jobs away from me and you. And that's what New York wants to do. It's profits over people. They can care less about me and you. They care less what they do. And the perfect examples, you can use AI data centers as nothing different than national developers. You watch national developers come in here and ruin our land, ruin our water, ruin everything, and they walk away with millions and millions of dollars, and we, the taxpayer, held accountable for the roads, the schools, all that kind of stuff. So my message to you is enough is enough. God bless y'all. Thank y'all for coming today.
So that concludes the
back up there.
That concludes the speaker portion of our program here. Now, we asked people to fill out question cards. That didn't work out too well because we only got a couple. But we can take questions directly from the audience, and we'd like to ask the speakers to come up to the front so that they can respond to questions from the audience. Cheryl, Karen.
I got some questions for you, boy.
Okay. Well, a couple announcements beforehand. Things are kind of a little chaotic. Yeah, we do have, for people who are looking to find ways to help, we do have the tables in the back, and you can sign up there, FYI. No, we have almost everybody gathered up here, so we can take questions from the audience. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Bobby, I'm gonna put your feet to the fire on this.
You can ask them.
I came out of a sick bed from North Berrien County to be here today to learn how to fight. And it's all of our fight. It's not just this county, it's not just Florida, it's frickin' the United States that we need to fight for right now. We have a limited amount of time. Bobby, how come I just found out not too long ago that our president signed an executive order to put these data centers at a warp speed? Have you heard that before? Okay. How did that happen? How did they cover up this executive order that seemed to kind of pop out after 5,000 data centers have been built? And I got another question for you. We have a situation where I believe, and you can correct me please, that DeSantis or somebody did the 180 days to vote, which is really intended for this to screw up even commissioners from getting the job done properly. And it's just the paperwork itself takes more days than that. And so this is all designed, but did that not come from DeSantis? I'm a Republican, by the way. And I'm sick of what I'm seeing in my party. We are not meant to blindly follow. We are meant to question anyone we put into places of this kind of power in our lives, in our children's lives, our grandchildren, and the future generations of America. And we better take it seriously because we've been sleeping. I have one more. County commissioners are also elected officials. There has to be rules and laws that we can pull from to pull these son of a guns off these committees. And I don't mean by votes, I mean pulling them off.
So to answer your last question first, the governor has the right to pull a county commissioner, city commissioner, even a sheriff out of office. So your governor has that. So this is the reason why my Matthew 7:16 is so important. You'll know them by their fruit. What have they produced? Every one of them. What have they produced? You know, I call both your Republicans and Democrats, they're called divorce attorneys. They sit in a room, they'll fight like cats and dogs, they make you think they're against each other, but behind the scenes, they're playing golf, eating dinner, trying to figure out how to get our money. Pay the fruit. So everything is a smoke screen, and I don't want to get into much of that kind of stuff. It's just like they use illegal immigration and the Everglades. Everybody woo-woo, illegal immigration, get illegals out, and that's fine. But at $670 million, who's making that money? So it's back to destroying the Everglades, non-destroying the Everglades, repairing them. You got too many people in the scenes being bought.
That's right.
So that's the problem. Every one of them.
Everybody.
You're 100%. That's the reason why you got to look at their fruit. Mine is this. The last 10 years, I've given my life, my money, my finances to help the people. That's the fruit of what I've done. I give 7 days a week, 16 hours a day sometimes to give back. That's been my message across the state. That's the fruit. You look at these other contestants, other candidates, they're all taking donor money. Are they going to answer to the donor or answer to you? We know that. So whether it's Trump or DeSantis, what is their fruit? What do they produce? Politicians are going to tell you what you want to hear, paint a picture, describe all this, but what have they produced? So at the end of the day, it's it. So thank you. Yes, sir. Well, it's like everything else. We end up paying for it. Is that okay for me to answer? So what happens with everything, developers and these guys put in AI data centers, I'll watch it for me in the meeting. They come in, they tell you everything you want to hear. We see it with developers. Hey, we'll put roads in later. We'll do this later. We'll do that. As soon as they make your money, where do they go? Out of town. They're gone. So at the end of the day, AI data center, we're going to pay for the water, we're going to pay for the infrastructure, we're going to pay for this. They're going to get very minimum. I watched the guy inform me, so you know what? We're going to use 100,000 gallons a day, or whatever that was. You can't do that. Swift Mud said you can't. Oh, the next week, you know what? We're only going to use 50,000. The next week's going to be what? You know what? We have a loop system. We're using no water. Well, how are you going to fill that? Then you've got, it's going to dehydrate or what, participation, whatever, it goes away, right? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Huh? Evaporates. Then you've got to replace it. Then you've got antifreeze, put stuff in there to keep this stuff cool. And y'all know well as I do, whether it's antifreeze, whatever, it's got to have an oil change, right? You got to flush it. What's going to happen now? Where's it going? Then you got to refill. So at the end of the day, it's common sense. So two things fix everything. Godly character, which is you're for the people, helping people, and being about the people. And the second thing is common sense. At the end of the day, that's it.
Amen.
Anybody else?
I have a question for Doug.
I think Doug thought y'all were going to hang him earlier, so he was very, very nervous. So I give y'all credit for being very polite and very nice to him.
Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, I understand data centers have been around for a long time. Different sizes, different capacities. So now, what is the problem with data centers now? It seems like you are not really a maker of them, so you're building them. So what do you see as the biggest issue with data centers for all?
I see it kind of as two sides of it. One is scale. At this point, we're having to scale so big, and we're using more and more power because of where we are in the chip industry. Over the years, we've hit these different plateaus where we use X number of watts of power, and then a new chip generation comes up, and we table again. But right now, because we're at kind of a limit on the physics, nobody's invented a new true processor core in a while. We just keep feeding power in, so we're going up, up, and up, and up. And that means we're drawing more and more and more power, and it's getting a lot worse. The other side is we're also seeing a lot more, and this is good and bad, we're seeing a lot more concentration where a business 20 years ago, if they needed servers, they put them in a rack in their own building and they dealt with it. These days, they're using cloud resources. The good news there is that it's more efficient that way. We build giant buildings that are really good at using the least amount of power that we can, but we still use hundreds of megawatts. And it's a lot more efficient than when you used 110 power in a server closet in a business. So overall, we use a little less power, but we're concentrating in more and bigger spots. And we're running out of places to put them. So I think a great place for a data center is a true industrial area around Dulles Airport. What kind of footprint am I adding compared to the thousands of flights a day? But when we decide that your backyard is now an industrial park, we get it rezoned, that's not a good place for us to go put all this stuff. The other side is, and I go back and forth on it, we blame AI for everything right now. It's not completely fair, but a lot of our bad actors are the AI companies that they need a dirt cheap way to go put a whole bunch of processing power online. They've already told their investors that they have it, they've told their customers they have it, and they've got to get it up as quick as possible, and they cut a lot of corners. I heard somebody ask where the power comes from. So if we don't have the power available, we'll generate it. So right now, there's actually a great incident of it in the Memphis area. Elon Musk has 45 jet engine turbines running on methane 24 hours a day because they couldn't get him enough power. And that's what I fear that we'll see, like here in Holder. Duke is advertising that they can put 5 megawatts on that site in 4 to 9 months. So if I go in and say I need 800 megawatts, they're going to come back and say, oh, you need a new substation, we need new generation, whatever. Screw it, I'll pay for it, I don't care, it's only millions of dollars. This is a building that will make me billions, but that takes time. And so in that time period, we'll bring in temporary power, and it's not going to be clean. And so that's where a lot of my concerns are, is it's one thing if you can and are doing it right, versus you're trying to do as much as you can, as quick as you can, you're cutting every corner you can find.
I have a question for you. You alluded to the fact that that even if they're only here for a short period of time, when they leave, they're going to leave us with all this devastation. Are you pointing to the fact that they maybe plan on bringing this to space eventually? Are they working on that?
So we're told that they'll be here for a short period of time. A big player that comes in, they're planning for 20, 30 years. A short thing like Elon Musk, they'll leave you with a bad industrial site to clean up. So they'll haul off everything that was of value, the generators, everything. If there's spills and stuff like that, you have the stuff to clean up as normal. I would love to see us launch gigawatts into space tomorrow. Part of the problem, when I say that a good data center doesn't want to be here, it's not because we don't love you people. It's because Florida's at the end of the line. It takes me 20 milliseconds to get out of Florida and serve a customer from here. So if I don't have enough usage in Florida, I can't really use it elsewhere. Well, space is far away and light is really slow. So there's only certain workloads that we can put up there. And honestly, I don't think that we're that close to being able to run things in space either. The heat problem, just like we have a heat problem here, it is much harder to discard heat in a vacuum than it is in an atmosphere.
That's true.
He said that Davis, electric power to push AI forward soon won't be available on Earth at any price. And he says in 36 months, the cheapest place to put AI is in space, and he's already working on that.
That's right.
Work hard.
Amazon is also working on that.
Work harder.
I've learned not to question what Elon says he can do, but I don't believe that we're going to get all of our workloads in space anytime soon. That's my opinion.
We don't want them anyway, by the way.
And as well, like where I live, I can walk outside at night, and as long as I don't turn on my outdoor lights, I can look and show my kids stars. We can even see the Milky Way. I'm just far enough outside of Gainesville, but in the Levy County part of Archer, Florida. Elon and now Amazon have launched a ton of satellites that if you look up with a telescope, you might get blinded back by their thing flying over.
That's right.
The data center birds are going to be bigger, and there's going to be more of them, and we're going to start blocking out more starlight. And we may even get into that scenario from that wonderful movie with Sandra Bullock where all the satellites crash into each other, and then what do we do?
That'd be nice. Yes.
Aren't you going to tell us about Matt the welder?
Folks, if you want to ask Doug a question, or if you have questions for any of our other speakers, ma'am? Okay.
Here, touch that.
Why don't you come up closer so we can hear you?
I got it.
Do all data centers require substations, or does it matter with the megawatts?
Power draw dictates that. So your smaller places that come in on what I call normal industrial power, probably sub 20 megawatts-ish. And for us, what we're using the facility at that point is going to be 480 volt AC current coming in 3-phase. The bigger data centers, we actually take in 16,000 volt transmission direct from the power company, and so we then have to transform that on site in substations.
So you have to build the transmission lines that go straight to the power plant with people's land.
In some cases, yes. And that, when I say there's exactly one thing that the holder property has that is advantageous to a data center provider, and that's transmission lines already there. Because not only do you have to worry you're taking people's property to run them, that takes time that I don't have. I want the transmission sets already there. I'd like to run less than half a mile of transmission if I can.
They're building all kinds of power lines.
All right, try not to laugh, but yesterday I was mowing and I fell in a sinkhole. And some of you don't realize that this is probably the #1 area in Florida for sinkholes.
Yes.
So when I hear 17% in our aquifer and seeing what happened to me yesterday, and I really did, I had to get my vehicle and pull my tractor out, but I jumped off of it because I went down. Anyways, my question is as governor, do you have the power to call a state of emergency to stop the bottling.
Yes. Yes.
Because that seems to be the #1 contributor right now, because we don't have the data centers yet, but we're already in dire straits.
I'm not gonna answer, I'll answer the question, but legally, I don't know that for 100%. Would I? Yes. So one of the problem with Florida, back to fruit of our governors, whoever that is everyone you have an issue with, your electric bill increasing, your water bill increasing, these people getting swift mud, giving permits, all them boards are appointed by the governor himself.
Yep.
So while everybody loves DeSantis, he's the one that appoints your insurance board. He's the one that appoints your utility boards.
Yep.
He's the one that appoints the water boards. He's the one that appoints the FWC spraying boards. All these, the governor has the right to do. Every time these big developers and big corporations go to these boards, you know how many times they're told no?
Zero.
Zero.
It's
Yeah.
how much?
That's right. That's the reason why the fruit's important. Are these guys being bought or going to be bought? That's what sets me, everybody asks, what sets me apart from these guys is I'm not in it for the money. I could care less about money. You can look at my fruit. You can look at my ministry. You can ask my team. The only reason why they follow me and with me is because they know who I am and know what I do. And so, yes, it's something I'm going to look at. I can't say there's so much legislation and lawyers fees. I was listening to DeSantis this morning, on the way to our other venue, talking about when he first went in office, he wanted all the legislation books, what he had power over, what he had authority over, all that kind of stuff, so he knew what he could do. That's just what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? So on day one, that's what August 18th really is my decision. When we wake up August 19th and we win, I'm going to pull all them books up and I'm going to spend time looking at what we can do, because once we win August 19th, the rest is easy. So yes, ma'am. We can't hear you. Hold on.
Hi, I grew up here. I'm 29 years old. I have 3 boys. I'm a first-generation Floridian. And obviously, Citrus County doesn't look the same. It's just heartbreaking, because I wanted my kids to play in the same springs that I played in. I wanted my kids to explore Florida and look at the cows. None of that's here no more. And when I come outside today, we're in like a phase 2, severe drought warning. I can't fill up a pool for my kids on their birthday, but they can pump water in the springs. How come they get to pump water, but my kids can't play outside?
That's right.
It's too hot. I just want to know, for the candidate that I want to vote for, what are we going to do to preserve Florida for our future generations? Because right now, I know what I lost, but my kids don't know what they lost until it becomes apparent to what they lost. So how do we prevent it? How do we prevent data centers from coming here?
That's an easy answer. You vote the right governor, and Bobby Williams for the governor. And the reason, because to answer your question, why does it happen? Because all these candidates are bought and paid for it. The reason why you, the people, don't have a voice, it's no longer we, the people. It's we, the lobbyists, and we, big corporations. That's who runs the state of Florida. That's who runs the United States. Till you get godly men and character that ain't going to get bought and paid for, it unfortunately will not change. I don't mean that the wrong way. And I feel like if I don't win governor, I hate to see where Florida's going to be in the next 4 to 8 years. I just say that. It's true.
Who owns Nestle?
Keep going, or are you good? You're
Folks,
boss.
we're going to take one more question, and then we're going to proceed to concluding.
They got many hands. I'm not going to get in trouble with you pick.
You're back there.
And the red hat?
The hat, yes, you're visible.
Actually, I have a question for Doug. Mr. Doug. I know, I'm sorry. I just submitted a 32-page opposition memorandum.
Yes.
Thank you. Everyone can do that.
I saw your post on Facebook
All right.
about it last night.
I am excited for that to be public and then everybody read it. But, Doug, thinking there's things I didn't add, which I added a lot. It's mostly land use codes and our own ordinances and restrictions and statutes, but what makes Citrus County so desirable for the data center? So when we are going up against this, what can we say? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how can we say, this is why we're not desirable, this is why this doesn't make sense here, you know, to add to our oppositions?
So I found that the Duke Energy site readiness advertisement for this site actually kind of spells it out. Duke says that they can provide 5 megawatts of power within 9 months. That's not enough power, that's not quick enough. It says that telecom can be brought in within, I think, 6 months. That's going to be single links from a single provider. That's not enough. You have water, where they're now advertising that there's 500,000 gallons of water and sewer available on site, gallons per day, because of the $2.8 million the state of Florida gave them to do it. But I'm also only supposed to use gray water. That's not on site. And I don't think Citrus County as a whole has a gray water loop. So where's that coming from? Hurricanes, not a good thing for things that need to be running 24 hours a day. And as I said before, we're at the end of the line. From Florida, the good places to go are, I can get to Georgia or South America. So realistically, from a large, like, you know, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, there are very little reasons to be here. The only thing the Holder property, in my opinion, has going for it is that it has a transmission line across it already, but we don't know that we can even use that. So in my case, I don't think that there is actually value here for a data center. There's value for somebody who made a bad real estate decision, was told by FDOT that they can't put in warehousing because of the truck traffic, and they're trying to make something work. And if they're lucky, they will succeed and they will get a bad player that runs horrible things over there that hurt us.
That's right.
And honestly, that's why the data center guy is here telling you that he doesn't like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Doug's been a great asset to our event tonight. So what we're going to do next is we're going to announce our rally winners, and then we'll just have some closing comments, and you can all feel free to mingle about, go to the back tables, chit chat before you go. All right. So, Joe, you're going to do the rally?
Okay, folks, are you ready for this one?
Yes.
Okay, hope you're still here. We're going to choose a couple of tickets out of our magic pot. And our first raffle item or ticket item is a yard sign that you can take with you and put up in your own yard. All right. And the number is 21973-487. Anybody? Anybody? Should we try one more? Okay, a number of people have left. We'll try again. Here we go. 21973-002.
Oh, second person in here.
That's a winner. Wonderful. We need one yard sign up here, folks. Here we go. A freebie yard sign. Take another one. You want it? You got it. Go for it. All right. Go get it. Come grab your yard sign here. In fact, we're going to try another yard sign, would you believe? All right, here we go. Put these up so that everybody can see that we need to let people know what's going on around here. For one more yard sign, here we go. 21973-500. All right. Would you like one? Come and get it. Come pick. You got it.
Don't get one, you lucky dog.
It's already there. You go. All right. Now we are going to give away a no data sign. I'm sorry, no data t-shirt. Let's see. You get to pick your own size, folks. 21973 492. 492. Anybody here? I'll try one more. Here we go. 21973 058. There we go. All right. Go on back to the back table and pick out your t-shirt in your correct size. One more t-shirt. We got to get this word out wherever we can. All right, here we go. 21973 001. Anybody have that one? Nobody claims that, but we'll try one more. How about 21973 527? 527. Go grab another t-shirt. There we go. Now we have some special giveaways for up here. These were donated by one of our local businesses. This is from Rutabagas, and they're located off of Croft Avenue and Route 41, right across the street from Bell's. I'm sorry, Route 44, sorry about that. They have a wonderful collection of healthy cosmetics, healthy extras, handouts. They have a lovely little cafe next door where you can get wonderful homemade soups, smoothies, that's the other one, right. And they have been kind enough to donate these grab bags, and they have a lot of interesting things in them. So let's see, where are we going here? Remember, Rutabagas is a local small business. If you've never been there, give them a try. It is really a great shop. Here we go, 21973 060. 060. See what happens, these people that left early? See what they're missing out on?
Do we need to fill?
All right, we'll try this one, 21973 006. 006. I'm going to hang on to these myself and take some of them home. All right, one more. 21973 055. 055. Nobody. You have no idea what are in these bags. They're great. All right. Okay. Here we go. 21973 042. All right, folks. Come on. We've got to get somebody here that's still left in here. Mm-hmm. 1973066. Did all these 0 people leave? All right. Yeah. Okay, I found one that has a 0 in it. Does not have a 0 in it. 21973 503. It's in the middle. Good, we got one. All right, congratulations. Yay. Again, these goodie bags came from Rutabagas. All right, here's a good one. No zeros, folks. 21973 538. You got one. All right. Yay. There you go. Thank you. Enjoy. Okay. We've got 3 more bags up here. We're ready to give them away. Here we go. 21973 403. 403. All right. We'll keep trying. 21973 533. 533. Woo! Again, thank you, rutabagas. Oh, I give up. All right. 21973-062. I think they all left. All those zero folks. Okay. 21973-532. 532. Good one. All right. I think we're due the last one. See if there's a zero left out there. 21973-088. Anybody? You got one? All right, congratulations. Woo! Again, thank you all so much for coming. Hang on.